You're welcome once again to this channel. I want to speak today on 10 major challenges in ISO implementation. But we have the international standard, um, International Organization for Standardization, ISO, that's has been able to produce thousands of standards, over 22,000 standards to date. And many of them are very, very popular. For example, you have ISO 27001, you have ISO 22301, you have ISO 27017, and ISO 9001, 14001, and so on. So you have all these standards that are being implemented by organizations, either being mandated by regulatory authorities or by desire to be better in what they do. Okay, but for several years I've been studying the industry, and I've seen quite some challenges with some of these implementations, and those are what I want to share with you in this session. Number one challenge I've noticed in ISO implementations is that the consultant did it all. So you have the company that wants to do the implementation, hiring a consultant, and from A to Z, you have the consultant basically doing everything. And so there is not going to be a transfer of knowledge at the end of the day. And this is a very, very big challenge. So you're going to have limited transfer of knowledge to internal employees. You're going to have challenges with project ownership. Project ownership by internal employees will be limited. And at the end of the day, by the time the consultant finishes the contract, all right, everything just literally goes to sleep. Okay, so that is one major challenge with ISO implementation. Another major challenge I've seen is theoretical training, right? So you have companies sending their employees for ISO lead implementer training, lead auditor training, and these training programs are supposed to be able to impact competence, all right, to address plus seven support of ISO 27001 or ISO 2301. But you discover that sometimes the approaches used during the training may not be enough to actually prepare those guys to implement auto audits. Okay, so if it is just a matter of just imparting theoretical knowledge, just uh, reading the standard, explaining the standard. Let's talk about plus four. How do we implement plus four? How do we audit plus four? Plus five, how do we implement it? How do we audit it? Plus six, what do we do to meet the requirements? All right. Plus seven, what do we do to meet the requirements? All right. Those are the kind of approaches I expect. Okay, in lead implementer and lead auditor training. And so it is very important as an organization that want to get ISO certified to choose your training organization very carefully. All right, so you need to be able to select a training organization that has lots of implementation experience and will be able to communicate that to your team. And if you are a consulting company, you also need to work on your people, work on your team members to ensure that the training they are delivering is not just theoretical, all right, but it is the training programs are designed to impact practical, pragmatic implementation competence to the trainees. All right, so that is one area that I think we need to look at. Then number three is inadequate management commitment. All right, of course, there is no ISO implementation without this management support. Plus five, leadership. Okay, but in many situations, you will just see that management provide the funds, they approve the budget, and that's all. They don't want to be involved again. Hey guys, we have given you the funds for the presentation. What else do you require of us? But of course, providing the fund is just like just a section, a fraction of the implementation process. It goes beyond that. All right. Policies have to be approved plus five. Documents have to be approved plus 7.5. You know, awareness has to be done continuously plus seven. All right. Training has to be done continuously plus seven also plus nine. All right. Talks about a management review plus 9.3, which must be done at planned intervals. So you can't do all things without management being directly involved in the implementation process. So funding the implementation project is not enough on the part of management. And you see, so the implementation steering committee, all right, and the consulting organization that is going to be involved in implementation, they have a lot to do here to be able to sensitize management about the need to be pragmatically involved throughout the implementation process. Okay, so we need to be able to ensure we get management backing, and not just management backing, management involvement. All right. The fourth point I want to raise as a challenge here is organizational culture is not impacted. See, this is a big problem. This is a big challenge in IS implementation. Right? That's why you see, it's not just enough to just cross the eyes, or I mean, dot the eyes and cross the T's in the implementation process. It goes beyond that. Right? We need to change after post implementation. Our faculties need to have been reset. Okay, the way we feel, the way we behave, the way we reason, the way we approach issues, all right, must change. Culture is very, very important in implementation of management systems. If not, it will just become like a ritual. It will just become like a routine. All right. So it's just at the it's just at the surface. The implementation has not really changed anything per se in the organization, because people run businesses, people run organizations, and so whatever we're going to do as per implementation that has not changed our people, then it's not going to be a success over the long run. What are going to have is a short-term benefit of the implementation. So, uh, so you see, after the implementation, maybe the consultants have they're through, they're gone. Everybody will refer back to the way they are doing things, before the implementation. All right. The only saving grace I see here is the surveillance audits. So after getting the certification, people go to sleep. Then you just get a notification, all right, after some months that the external auditors are, they're going to be arriving for the surveillance audit, and that wakes everybody up again. Okay, so if not for the surveillance audit, all right, that's why I really appreciate the wisdom of the guys that set up the implementation and certification processes to do that surveillance audit. Right? If not, you will have had a lot of wasted implementation projects, ISO implementation projects, right? Because that culture is very important. And so it is very important for the consultants and the steering committee, implementation steering committee, to ensure they do everything that is required to ensure that the implementation affects the culture, the way of doing things, the ethics and behavioral aspects of the implementation. We have to address that for the implementation to have a long-term impact on the organization. Then the fifth challenge is inadequate improvements, right? So you have to 10 basically addressing improvements, and the implementation is meant to get better with time. So it's not supposed to be static. All right. We need to continuously review the implementations, process to see what is good that can become better. How can we improve plus four? How can we improve plus five? How can we improve plus six? What can we do better in plus seven? What can we do better in plus eight? All right. So we need to continuously review the management system to to see area of improvement. Because basically, ISO implementation is a form of quality management technique or procedure. So the idea is for you to be able to, on the maturity scale, to go higher and higher to get to the optimal, all right, on the CMMI scale. So when that emphasis on improvements, continuous improvement, has to be there for us to be able to maximize the benefits of ISO implementation. All right. Then I will look at the sixth uh, challenge: limited focus on getting certified. So the business doesn't ask, we need to get the certification, all right, maybe because our peer have gotten it, because I've gotten it, or the regulators are, saying everybody in this industry at so level must get ISO 27001 certified, or 2000 certified. And so all the efforts are just focused on getting that certification. All right, but it's beyond the certification. All right, every implementation you do is at the minimum a 3-year journey, at the minimum. All right, so it's beyond, just getting the certification and posting for the cameras, and it is beyond that. So it's and if you want to get it certified, you are looking at another, you're looking at 6 years continuous journey of you maintaining certification, and if it's going to be, as into the future. So we are looking at 3 years multiplied by X, where X could be the number of years of the, can be anything, can be 10, can be 20 years, can be 20. So it is something that you have to be, it's a marathon, all right? It's a marathon. It's not an 100-meter dash. And so we need to readjust our focus beyond getting after getting certification, what next? All right. So we shouldn't just, focus our attention on just getting certified. After getting certification, what are your plans? Okay. So we should start looking at, other areas. I've talked about continuous improvement, point number five. What about getting other related certifications? We have 27001. Okay, that's our first target. Let's see what we can do with 22301. Let's see what we can do with 9001. Integrated management systems. All right. So the one about preparation for the surveillance audit, like I said, many organizations immediately they get the certification, they just drop the ball from there, right, until there is a wake up call. So right from the point of getting certified, you have to start preparing for the next surveillance audit. You have to start preparing for your cross-vendor too. What next? What improvement can we do? All right. So it is a marathon. It's not a dash, and we have to ensure that we get that priority right from the beginning. Number seven is inadequate project management skills. Okay, ISO implementation is a project, right? Even though on the long run it will become an operation. Okay, so but at least the first that implementation process until you get certified is a project. And of course, it's even beyond the project. I will even call it a program, right? Because within that program, you have multiple projects, right? Plus four to get the requirement of plus four. There are many projects there. Okay. Plus five, there are many projects. Plus six, multiple projects. All right, and so on. So we need to be able to get our implementers internally and externally to have adequate project management skills. All right. So apart from getting lead implementer training, certification, lead auditor training certification, you should also look at PMBOK, project management body of knowledge, certifications. So certifications and experience in project management. It will also help so that you be able to avoid cost overrun, time overrun, all right, even project abandonment, or you are not getting the benefit of the implementation at the end of the day. So if the implementers do not have adequate project management skills, it's going to lead to challenges. All right. Number 8 challenge I've seen in the ISO implementation projects is inadequate stakeholder participation. That is a big problem. is a very big problem. So you have implementation being championed by IT, information security, and risk management, right? Then other departments and stakeholders are simply onlookers, right? They don't, some of them don't even know that the company is making certification, all right? You go to branches, and now even within the same head office, they are not, they're just hearing, they just see circulars, so they are not properly involved, right? But you discover that IS certification is not just one totally department, that if you really want it to be successful, it's everybody's business, right? IS implementation is everybody's business, all right? And that's why you have the plus 7.3, plus 27001, 22301 awareness, all right? So even if I'm not at the if I'm not I'm not part of the implementation team, all right, I should be made aware of what the implementation team is saying. I should be made aware of how the implementation affects me and how I can affect the success of the implementation. So we need to carry people along, carry departments along. All right, you have circumstances where you have a company that gets ISO certification, and they are within a building they are sharing with other tenants. You can't just say you are ISO certified and other tenants in your building, alright, which is your geographical scope, are not aware of how the implementation or certification affects them, or how they can affect, alright, your implementation. For example, you go to 7001. Of course, physical security is part of the control you are going to implement in your Annex A. And of course, your tenants or your co-tenants, right, in the building, they will affect your physical security, definitely. Right? So you need to be able to have a way to bring them on board with your certification, all right, certification requirements. So it's very important that we involve as many stakeholders as possible, all right, when we are doing an ISO implementation. All right. Then the number nine challenge is the scope, what I call the scope challenge. Right. So most of the time, all right, you have the implementation scope, all right, it being focused primarily on the head office. All right. So if you look at the geographical scope, most of the time it is head office. So what about the regional branches? What about the remote branches? All right. So you need, so on paper, all right, on the scope documents, branches are not captured. All right. In reality, too, branches are not captured. Okay, that is a big minus. So you have a bank, for example, that is ISO 27001 certified, and all the requirements, all the checklists are across for head office. But when you go to a branch, you see them doing something else. And of course, what is happening in the branches are going to impact on the head office, whether we like it or not, it's the same network. Okay, so even when head office is your scope, no problem. You need to do your best to ensure that what has been implemented for head office is replicated across all your branches. It is your responsibility. All right. So we have to be very, very careful that even though yes, we have our scope for certification, all right, but pragmatically, the entire organization is a scope. Okay, we may say, okay, yes, implementation for certification purpose, geographical scope, head office, but in reality, all right, what you have implemented for head office, take time to go to the branches and get the same. That is the best way to achieve the benefits of ISO implementation. All right, then the 10th challenge is what I call inadequate knowledge of the applicable standard. So ISMS implementation, we need to 7.0.1, right? And of course, it goes beyond 27001 also, all right, because you have to look at the other supporting standards like 27002, 27003, 27004, 27005, 27017, and so on. All right. So you want to implement 22301. You have to look at other supporting guidelines. Okay, like 22017, for example, on BIA. So you have whoever is going to be an implementer need to be able to have the adequate knowledge of the standard. So the standard and the accompanying what is it called, accompanying guidelines. Okay, so the standard is the primary tool for implementation. Having inadequate knowledge of the standard will lead to unacceptable consequences. So the people, the steering committee, the implementation steering committee, the consulting organizations, they need to do a lot to ensure that they have very sound knowledge of the standards, line by line requirements of those standards and the accompanying guidelines. And then again, you have to note that the standards are regularly reviewed and updated, right? Due to 27002 have been updated in 2022. We are also expecting an update to 27001 later uh, this year in 2022 also. So these changes are always coming, averagely every 5 years. Okay, so the implementation team, the auditing team have to have be able to keep up with the updates. So it's not just enough that yes, we have implemented 27001, right? 27001 is changing and will change. So we have responsibility to keep up with the review and the updates that are being done to these standards. So once again, my name is Actually Akindia. If you have enjoyed this presentation, kindly like the video and also subscribe. Thank you.